Hello, and welcome back to Lead from Home with Teacher Victoria. Just found out that there's absolutely no audio to the most recent video, which was supposed to launch um, the series of videos that support, the course breakdowns, the income challenges and expectations, and how we promote growth within VIPKid, at least from my personal experience. So back to my intro. I apologize greatly. Here you will have the audio. We will double check for that. And just letting you know that this particular video will feature the income breakdown for the first full month that I was employed with VIPKid as an independent contractor. That's the first 4 weeks in October. I signed in September of 2019 and have not looked back. I was very fortunate to find VIPKid when I did. I am a military spouse, as some of you may know if you follow me. Then we PCS, which means that we follow our husbands, our spouses, um, to our permanent change of station every few years, which means that we have to say goodbye to our work family and start all over. Well, in between or that time of transition where you're saying goodbye to your work family and then starting again, you don't want to experience those financial burdens because you're back on one single income. It's great to have a dual income home if that's what you're used to. I know my family was, and I love my financial independence. This was one way that I knew that I could continue to make my payments to reach my goal for debt free in 2023. So that's just a little bit about where I'm at in my journey. I am still fairly new. However, I think that once I started, I hit the ground running, and this is how I did. Without further ado, the first week in October, my check was $8. Yes, $8. I know. You're thinking, why in the world would you stay for a check for $8? Well, I opted for the weekly paycheck. That's a great benefit and option, especially since I was used to a larger check at my former employer. So in order to make those gaps and to continue making the payments that I was used to, I opted for the weekly income check. So yes, it took a while to develop my bookings, and you'll see how that looks. My second check was a check for $52. My third week was 116, so you see the gradual increase. And then fourth week at 162. Now October had an extra week, so we add in $430 for that, finishing that month. Now in October, some kind of interesting things that I did was any time that I was not teaching, I was in the workshops. I was looking and researching what I needed to be eligible for these new certifications. And yes, I set goals for myself to say, sorry, I have to, it dimmed on me. I don't know if you guys are going to see that too. Um, but I set goals based on the certifications that I wanted. If it said, a certain percentage of attendance or classes completed, then I told myself, you're going to do it and you're going to achieve the certification by a certain time. That's what I did in October, is set my goals. And a little bit about that. The majority of the courses that I received bookings for were major courses. So this is the core curriculum for VIPKid. I did have a few trials, but not a whole lot. In my next video, you'll see a breakdown of how many in each category based on certifications and my personal growth. Um, in October, I had 8 short notice bookings. So that's just a little heads up that they did work. They helped me out. But again, I was fairly new, so I wasn't really sure how that worked. In January, and I'm only going to give you the first 4 weeks of those checks because didn't add in the last week. I know we're already February, but the data that I collected was just a breakdown of the first 3 weeks in January, or 4 weeks. Um, this includes the incentive check. I did qualify for the incentive check. For the new hires, you might be on a different tier. I happen to fall into the old system where we had the $2 incentives for each class. My base rate was $8 for one per class per 25 minutes session, and $1 incentive for a healthy finish rate, and then a extra additional dollar for anything over 45 classes. Yes, I think that's it. Yes. And so I did meet my goal. Again, I am a very goal-oriented person. I challenged myself and I told if I had 100 bookings by a certain week or a certain day, then I would say, well, if that's my average and I'm doing okay on that, then by the end of the month, this is how much I want. So that's kind of my mindset and what I went for, and I believe I achieved it. There were some days in January that my classes fluctuated. For one, in January early, I got the flu. Never in my life have I had the flu or gotten sick like that. So I'm going to pray for you guys that have the flu or have gotten sick like that all of a sudden. Take care of yourselves. It's not something that you want to experience. I did have to cancel 3 classes, and it did impact me because I was a bit fatigued, but not overall, and I'll show you why. The first week in January, which included my my healthy incentives, which I just discussed, was $1,262. So that was a nice welcome to January, welcome to the new year check, especially if you compare that to my first month, my first week at $8. Yay! So I was seeing some growth. I did receive my bonus the month prior in December, but since we're only doing the segment of the first month and the current month, then or current data month, then this is what you guys can see for comparison. My second week was $574, and again, this was the week that I was most impacted for having the flu. So I didn't cancel beyond the 3 classes. That was my worst evening, and I did complete any scheduled classes. That's just who I am. I don't recommend it for everybody, but anybody who you, you go with what you feel you're able to do in your health. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. I know what I did and how I committed to meeting those things. I actually felt I missed my students, and I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to maintain them if I stayed away for too long. The good thing is even though 2 students disappeared for about 2 weeks, I saw them again this week, and we're already February. I'm so excited. Third week in January, that went up to 692, and then the fourth week in January um, was $740. So this is only from January 1st through January 21st. You can kind of estimate what that was. The grand total from January 1st through the 21st was $3,268. In January, there were 10 total short notice bookings. So that kind of tells you more or less what is impacting the coursework and how your potential earnings would be. I put this information out there because I was most curious. Am I going to be able to be self-sufficient? Am I going to be financially independent? How much time and energy will it take in order for me to be comfortable? And I say comfortable, I don't, because I am fairly new. I do have personal goals that I will reach, and if you follow me on my journey, you will see them. I have 4-month goals, I have 1-year goals, and I have 2-year goals with the company. That's just how invested I am in myself and in you. So I thank you for joining me on this journey. Please take a look at the contact us information at the end of this video and the associated chart that I just table that I drafted for you all so you can have a visual. I'm a visual person, so whenever there's an opportunity to do that, I will. So thank you for that, and just know that our next video will be a breakdown of the courses that were most lucrative for me and my ideas about why I believe that certain ones suited me and were able to make me the most money. And yes, I say uh, that with a nice little grin because once you make those connections in the classroom and the students feel it on the other side, it's a partnership, and I value that relationship, even though it's long distance and what have you. It's worth it. It's an investment in their future and stability for me. And the best thing, I enjoy it. So thank you for staying with me this long, bearing with me on these videos that had no audio, and for seeing me between classes and between nap times. So I'll talk to you later. See you soon. Goodbye. Don't forget to subscribe.